Hey, I'm Rachael Spiewak, and I am a results leader.
You're listening to ResultsLeader.fm. Being a thought leader is easy. Getting results is hard. This show is for the results leader who lives and dies by their results. Here is your host and Chief Results Leader, Jonathan Rivera.
If you're listening to my voice right now, it means you're with me for another ResultsLeader.fm episode. Stoked that you guys are here, and I have a special guest. I always say that. They're all special. They are all special for their own reasons. Today's guest is special for multiple reasons. It's Rachael Spiewak from rockyourtribe.com, and she's not only a client, but she's also teaching me how to rock my tribe on Facebook. And in today's interview, you're going to get a masterclass on direct response marketing for Facebook groups. It sounds crazy, I know, but you have to listen to the interview to understand what I'm talking about. So let's jump in with Rachael. All right, Rachael, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm stoked to be here with you. I'm excited to jump into the interview and share some goodness here with our listeners. So are you ready to rock this thing?
I was born ready.
Oof, listen to that confidence. All right, let's throw you a softball then. Let's start off with something super simple. What book or books have you given most as a gift?
Have I given most as a gift? I'm going to go with Get Rich, Lucky Bitch by Denise Duffield Thomas.
Okay, now I haven't heard of that one, but why, other than the name, why is the one that you've given most as a gift?
This is a fantastic book particularly for women who are launching businesses in those beginning phases. It clears out, of course, the initial mindset blocks. That's the big thing in the very beginning, and pushes through to practical advice about making offers, getting paid, turning your expertise and your interests into a business. And she writes it in a really friendly, accessible kind of way. And she's built a community around herself through the book.
That makes sense. Now, I gotta dive deeper because you touched on one of my favorite subjects, and you said it clears out some of the mindset blocks. So what are some of those mindset blocks that you see coming up over and over again?
Well, with Facebook groups in particular, because that's the space that I'm working in, a lot of it is just being comfortable in your own skin and letting your personality show. There's over 10 million Facebook groups out there. And one of the biggest complaints, questions I get is, how do I get engagement? How do I get people in here? How do I grow this thing and make sure people are interacting with me? And if your group looks just like every other group, you're going to get lost in the sea of sameness. So you're better off waving your freak flag, just be yourself, get over it. Nobody's judging you as harshly as you're judging you. So put it out there.
I want everybody to note, she said, let your freak flag fly. Just for the record, first time ever on the show. All right, cool. So here's a fun one. How has an apparent failure set you up for later success?
Oh my God. A great failure that set me up was, I took a job. A job fell in my lap. I had a long streak of doing my own thing. I was a nonprofit founder and director. I was a DJ. I did all of this cool stuff on my own. And then as life would have it, I took a job at one point because that's what I thought I needed to do at the time. And I became...
Wait. Don't keep going. You thought you needed to do at the time. Why?
Because I felt backed into a corner financially. I had a baby. We had temporarily moved into my parents' house, and then baby came along, and it just seemed like I got to claw my way out of this situation. So a job fell in my lap. It came from a family friend, somebody I thought I could trust, and was in a moment of, I got to figure something out. Okay, a family friend recommended this. They're promising me that I can do this from home. I can be flexible. I can be around baby, and it's going to be easy. And it's social media. It's a recruiting job, which brought me onto LinkedIn. And they treated it like a numbers game. There was a lot of cold pitching, a lot of cold DMing, and doing things exactly not the way that I want to operate ever. But it brought me onto LinkedIn, which brought me into the world of social media marketing. And I took it upon myself to go learn how to do LinkedIn marketing the right way or a better way. And so I invested in a program that taught me social media marketing for LinkedIn and put me in a community of other entrepreneurs who are doing their own thing and doing it on LinkedIn. And when I saw what they were doing, I thought, well, shit, like there's no reason why I can't be selling my own thing instead of representing a brand that I don't believe in, that's training me to do things in a way that I disagree with. And so it took, hitting rock bottom. I made some money as a recruiter, but then I had a long stretch of just not making any money at all. And it's a commission only job. And I knew I was doing something right because we just connected on LinkedIn. Did you see how many connections I have? Like I did well with building my audience there. I must be doing something right in terms of growing an audience, but somehow I'm making zero money and I'm representing a brand that I don't believe in. Something is wrong. So it put me in the environment of other, mostly women with their own businesses. And that opened the door for me. And here I am today running my own show.
That's right. I love it. I love it. So taking that and turning it into something good. And I did notice your community on LinkedIn. So kudos to you. I was about to ask you, hey, what are you doing over there? We'll save that for another conversation. So let's talk about investments. I know that you make investments in your growth. You make investments in yourself. So what would you say is the most worthwhile investment you've ever made?
I have to think about that one. That one's tough. The most worthwhile investment was, well, that first LinkedIn marketing program that I did opened the door, like I said. And so it all kind of comes back to that one. And that one originated with a 5-day challenge. I participated in a free 5-day challenge. And that was my first experience with that phenomenon, right? And going through that 5-day challenge, and of course it's scarcity marketing, right? Doors closing at a certain time, these bonuses go away, should I get off the pot, make a decision now, or this opportunity goes away forever. Plot twist, it doesn't. It comes back a couple months later. But I've never experienced this before. And in that moment, I had to do it. I had to make the decision to invest in myself professionally when I didn't really think I had the money to do it. And that was scary. And it put me in the position of, well, do I communicate this to my family? It's that funny space of like, I think I have to do this. And if I talk to anybody about it, they might talk me out of it. They might think I'm crazy. They didn't do the 5-day challenge. So they don't know. It's like a whole other head trip, right? Like those initial stages of deciding to invest in yourself so you can grow a business. People who are not in that headspace or have never experienced it are probably not going to get it. And they're going to try to talk you out of it for a whole mess of reasons. So you're very much on your own in that phase. It gets better. Once you figure your thing out and you actually start making money in your business, then your family and friends come around and they're like, I always believed in you.
Yeah, right. I want to highlight something there because it started with the LinkedIn course, but what I really heard you say was investing in yourself was the most worthwhile investment. That's a common theme that we hear all the time on the show, investing in yourself, investing in your growth. And I'm curious because the way I found you was through a friend, a mutual friend. And so what kind of investments have you made in your environment? Because environment and learning are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Well, environment has been tricky, especially, in the world that we're currently living in, because as I launched my business, we went into lockdown. I launched a couple months prior, but it didn't really click until March of 2020. And then guess what happened in March of 2020? So my environment, it's 4 of us in a townhouse. So we all just barely fit in here anyway. And suddenly everybody's home. I have a 3.5-year-old. He goes to preschool, but his school was initially canceled during that time. So he was home. I have a teenager. She's home. Husband is home. We're all here. So environment that's been a really tricky one, but we're doing a video interview right now for this, and you can see this wall of records behind me. I actually have photography lights that I turn on when I'm, doing a video presentation. I have my Yeti mic. So I do have a set here, but I show people this sometimes when I'm on a video call. If I turn my computer around so it's facing the other part of the room, it's just like a pile of toddler toys. So it's a little bit of TV magic when we meet on camera. But I have, put in some work to at least make this area look nice.
And it's working. All right. So let's talk about this. In the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
Belief, habit, or behavior. I stopped drinking.
When and why?
Kind of recently. I mean, it's pretty common in your 20s to party a lot. And I did, and I worked in the nightlife, and, I had my own issues to work through. So there's having fun, there's self-medicating, all those kind of things. And then lockdown was happening, and that was pretty tough. And so there was like habitual, like, oh, I'll just have a sip of this, a shot of that. And then I started going to a pretty hardcore gym. I go to Orange Theory.
Oh,
and
I love Orange Theory.
I freaking love Orange Theory. And so I'm putting all of this effort into health and fitness. Like, I'm making a very concerted effort. And also, Orange Theory is one of the more expensive gyms out there. So and I like that because it forces you to take your fitness seriously, I think, because you've got more skin in the game this way versus like a $10 a month gym membership where you can kind of like, some of us are in a position to say, well, okay, it's $10. It's like 2 lattes, whatever, it's fine, But when you're paying, what you pay for Orange Theory, and this is a known thing, right? Like Orange Theory is one of the more expensive gyms. I think it puts you, it's like when you're paying for a program, right? When you're doing your, professional and personal development, when that higher ticket price comes along, that's going to motivate you to take it seriously. And I think that's important for those of us doing this work when we think about our own pricing, because we tend to put it in reverse, right? And charge the least amount possible that we think covers the cost of doing this business so that more people will be able to afford it and more people will buy it. But that's not really true because there's a perceived value attached to the price tag. So you would want to charge the most you possibly can for your offer so you get somebody who's going to do the work. And that's something that you say a lot in our work together, do the work. And that price tag, makes me do the work.
I'm glad we're motivating you. I like it.
So yeah, the investment in my health, and then one of the consequences or outcomes of that, I'm looking at the amount of work I'm doing, the amount of money I'm spending, the time I'm spending, and then this habit. Because if you look at, what are my options for losing weight? Because you make abs in the kitchen, right? Not in the gym. You can't, what do they say? You can't outwork out. Like, there's some saying about it. But if you really want to get in shape, you can work out all you want, but you have to address the food issue. And what's the number one thing that you could cut out very easily that packs the pounds on? It's alcohol.
So true. So true. I love Orange Theory. I love higher pricing. and I also love that you cut out alcohol. I did the same thing. I'm going on about 1.5 years now, and I feel much, much better. And it's so weird because the last conversation I had, the last guy I spoke with on RLP was another guy that's been like 4 or 5 years without alcohol. And I'm wondering if that's a trend going on now. So let's move forward and have some fun. We'll let you be nice or mean, whatever you choose. What are bad recommendations you hear in your area of expertise?
Bad recommendations. Oh, I have all sorts of unpopular opinions. So what I see in the world of Facebook groups, and I'm not really sure who's teaching this or if somebody is teaching this or it's just bad habits all around, but going to other people's Facebook groups and asking a question that creates like a yes ladder, like who here is struggling with blah, or who here wants my free thing about XYZ. And then all of these people say, yes, me, I want that, blah, blah, blah. And then you friend request all of them. And then you immediately invite them to your group. and you just shovel people into your community, nobody likes that. I took a survey because this is what I do. I look at my Facebook group and my profile as an opportunity to gather data, right? If I have a certain population of people, I can ask them questions intentionally. So it's not like these answers are, I have my assumptions and my theories and things that I, stand on. But I also, because I come from a social science background, I want to know what the population has to say, or at least a sample size. And believe it or not, most people don't like that. There's a better way. And it may be a slower growth for your Facebook group or your community or your audience, but it's going to set you up for success in the long term when you take the time to get to know people and build a community that benefits them rather than it's a benefit to you that they join it. It's a benefit to them that they join it. And they have to discover that on their own. And you can lead them in that direction, but you can't just shovel people into your group or your community or as a podcast listener, because what's the point? If they're not invested in what you have to offer, then it's a total waste of your time. And potentially it's going to have the reverse effect. What if they go somewhere and say, "Look, Rachel invited me to her group. I don't even know her. Why would I join that group? XYZ, blah, blah, blah." And now that's a knock against me.
Okay. So I understand what you're saying. And I'm wondering about the other part because I got my direct response marketer hat on saying, what? Let people discover? But I mean, let people discover sounds kind of passive. Where's the marketing come in here?
Okay. So here's where the marketing comes in. It's you create a situation where they feel like they discovered it, but you are being intentional about laying the breadcrumbs.
Okay.
So for example, in the world of Facebook groups, if you set up your personal profile in a way that directs traffic to your group, and then inside your group, you, for example, create some evergreen content on your topic and you tuck it into a unit section, set your group type to social learning. And if we back up for a second, something you can do inside your group to create engagement and then determine what kind of value posts will resonate with your members, create an Ask Me Anything post. This is very typical on Reddit. I'm a blah, ask me anything. So in your group, I'll say, ask me anything about Facebook groups. I'll get slammed with questions and I'll see which ones are the frequently asked questions. And so I can write a piece of content that answers each one. So those are my evergreen content pieces. Put them in a unit section in my Facebook group, right? So then if I'm in another Facebook group and I see somebody asking a specific question about Facebook groups, I can say, "Hey, here's a nugget of wisdom," give them, a quick win. I've also expanded on this in a post inside my Facebook group. If you'd like to see it, let me know. And then you can have your side conversation about inviting them to your group at that point, because they've given you permission. It's like vampires. Vampire can't come into your house until they're invited, right? So you can't go into somebody's DMs until you're invited, right? So get them into your Facebook group this way, because now there's something interesting to them that they're seeking out. You've had a back and forth with them. You gave them something already. You gave them a nugget of wisdom so they could walk away and they're happy. And then if you get to that point where they're like, "Yeah, actually, I do really want to read that piece. I'm going to join your Facebook group. What is it?" Get them in there. Welcome, do the welcome post. And then you can tag them on that evergreen piece of content. So now you're creating this cycle of engagement on that piece of content. You know exactly where it is because it's in your unit section. And you knew that it was something you should write because you created that Ask Me Anything post. And that Ask Me Anything post was an engagement bomb in your group. So this is like Hakuna Matata, the circle of life of Facebook groups. So let's go back to that other group you're hanging out in that you're not poaching from. You're just being a good group member because you get what you give on social media. So if you want good group members in your group, go be a good group member in other people's groups. So you're there, you're supportive, you're helpful. Somebody asks a question that you've written something about that you can help with. So you have a back and forth. And you start to build this relationship. In the meantime, you want your profile to reflect that you're serious about your business and you're serious about this Facebook group because people go and look. And if you think your profile is for friends and family only, you're wrong because people who could potentially work with you are going to look at your profile. And if you don't look like you're serious about your business, they're going to move on. So go ahead and accept it now. And so they can go to your profile. And even if they don't say to you, or if you say to them, well, if you get in my group, I'll tag you on this post. And they say to you, no, I'm not joining any other groups right now. I'm in way too many. I get too many notifications. It's so annoying. Okay, fine. But then they can go to your profile and see for themselves that you are, in fact, very serious about your group. You post about your group. You direct traffic from your profile to your group so they can see, well, actually, on second thought, this person's group might actually be worth my time. And they can take it upon themselves and click through the couple of places on your profile where you can tuck the link to your group, like in your banner and your top 9 and your web address and your little about section. They can take it upon themselves to go get in your group. Then they pop into your group and you're like, oh, hey, you're here. I'm so happy you're here. This is great. I'm going to tag you on that post that you're interested in. And that's how you do it.
You just you took the question and really laid it out, because that's actually, essentially what you've just described is direct response marketing. One step till it becomes their idea. I dig that. All right, I know you were getting into that, and we were just about to get into my favorite part where we talk about results. But first, I want to ask you a question. Are you picking up what we're laying down on this show? Are you digging what we are sharing? If you are, why not make yourself a hero today and share this with somebody who can use it? Put this out on your social media channels. #ResultsLeaderFM. I'll be out there looking for you, and I'll make sure to boost it up too when I see you. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump back into the interview. Let's go into the results part of this interview. It's results time, and I want to know, Rachel, why do results matter?
Results matter because, why else are you doing stuff?
For fun?
It's a business, right? There's this saying that, do you have a business or an expensive hobby? I don't want another expensive hobby. I have a lot of expensive hobbies. Results matter because I'm doing something here, right? Like, I don't want this to all be for nothing. And I've heard you say something along the lines of the reason why you do what you do is to help lots of people, because you help the helpers. The people you help lots of people. And I have a similar philosophy here. I went to social work school. I'm technically a social worker, not licensed, but I've got the degree for it. In my experience in that sector, there's more efficient ways to help people than to work through bureaucracy and programs and just the way that it's set up to sort of band-aid problems, which is important because there are things happening in the moment that need addressing now. Things do need band-aids, but I want to scale my ability to help people. And I want to address things on a structural level, which is why I'm interested in building communities in particular. So there's power in just running the community. This is another mistake people make with Facebook groups. They think it's a classroom. They think it's culturally a classroom, and that you have to provide value in the form of explaining stuff. Most people don't want to be lectured. And most of the value of your group comes in the form of it being a community. The value is in the community itself, and plot twist, the community is the classroom. Good teachers know this. So my point of view is I can scale my ability to help people by creating an example community of what this looks like and supporting the helpers in their work of helping people and making sure that they are building a real business out of it so they can do it for a long time. Because in the world of social work, it's like you have to take a vow of poverty, and it's not sustainable. If you're not making good money doing what you're doing and you get exhausted, how long are you going to last? Not very long. So if there's this idea that in order to help people, you can't make a lot of money, which is false. And so that's something that I had to work through as a mindset block.
How'd you figure that out? Because that's not typical thinking.
Well, it was in Denise Duffield Thomas's book, Chillpreneur. Chillpreneur is the one with lots of practical ideas about how to run a business. But Get Rich Lucky Bitch, the first one that I mentioned, is the one that goes through specific mindset blocks. And she laid it out that having this idea that in order to do good in the world, you can't make good money doing good work for people, which is kind of a rallying cry. That's like a flag that I waved for a long time that justified, why am I taking such a low pay to do the work that I'm doing? Because I had this idea that good work, you just can't get paid. If doing good in the world paid a lot, then you would see more people doing good in the world. That was my justification. But I think it's just that we've all kind of like swallowed this pill, right? Like we all drank the Kool-Aid that said, you have to take a vow of poverty in order to do good in the world. And it was reading that book that it was laid out completely that I figured this out.
So in the last 5 years, what new realization has helped you get better results for your clients?
What new realization has helped me get better results for my clients? That I know what I'm talking about. That I'm giving reliable information, that I can systematize the information that I'm giving. So like one block for me has been, there's no one size fits all answer. And so I leaned into that a bit much, to the point that I wasn't providing enough structure to people. Like people want a content calendar, for example, for Facebook groups. And I would just say, write this content and this content. These are the kinds of content. Make sure you're creating engagement every day. And it's like when you're so close to the subject matter and you do it kind of instinctually, there is a rhythm to it that I really had to pull out and say, okay, this is the structure to what the structure to what comes naturally to me. The thing about people is that we tend to devalue what we do best. The things that come naturally to us, our superpowers, we don't always realize that it doesn't come naturally and easily to other people. And so those things that come easily to us, we tend to devalue and not charge enough for, because we think it's easy. It's easy for us. It's probably easy for other people. And so I think this is, the role of a really good business coach is to go in and pull that out and say, no, it comes easy to you, but this is actually high level information for everybody else. And if you could organize it and put it into a step-by-step process, now that's something you can sell. So moving away from kind of giving people a palette, like here are the paints you can paint with. Here's a paintbrush. Here's the paper. Go. Now it's more like, okay, it's more paint by numbers.
I love that analogy. That was great. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to go internal here. So what area of your business would you like better results?
Well, more predictability is what I'm searching for this year, because I've moved through a couple of different kinds of offers to see what fits me. A lot of this is new. Doing business online is new to me. And I like variety. I like a lot of stuff. I like trying different things. So reining that in and making a decision. This is your flagship offer. This is what you're offering. Stop trying a whole bunch of other stuff. You found something that works, stick to it. If you create consistency around, surprise, surprise, if you create consistency around one offer, then you can more predictably grow your client base for it, obviously. So just moving from that space of like, I'm here, I'm trying all the things, kid in a candy store, to like, okay, this restaurant has a very limited menu for a reason. So we can do a couple of things very, very well, and that's it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So here is everybody's favorite part. Rachel, what results are you most proud of?
Most proud of? Well, the feedback I get about my Facebook group is that it's the only one worth being in. Or I'll hear things like, I'm in so many groups, but yours is the only one that I check every day. And I think that when you teach something or you consult on something, you help people with something, you should exemplify it. And I think it makes it easier to sell it too. If you do that one thing extremely well, people will look at it and go, how'd you do that? I'll pay you for information about it. So it makes me feel good, especially because I come from this social work background. It was a program about community partnerships. So I've been doing this community building work in real life in a different way for a long time. And so to be able to take those skills and apply it online in a way that helps the helpers, that makes me feel really good.
I can dig it. Any parting thoughts as we're wrapping up?
Well, if you want to hang out in my world and join my Facebook group, I'd love to have you. You can join it at rockyourtribe.com/Facebook.
rockyourtribe.com/Facebook. We will be sure to share links to that, to your LinkedIn, to your personal profile. And I want to thank you. You gave us a real fun ride here. And there's a lot of information. I mean, there's like a master class on building a funnel for Facebook right inside this episode. And if you guys don't realize that, go back and listen to it again. She gave you every single step. So it's rockyourtribe.com/Facebook. Thank you, Rachael, for being here. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. All right.
That is a wrap for another edition of ResultsLeader.fm. If you are out there getting results for your clients and you want to be featured on the show, go to ResultsLeader.fm now and apply to be on the show. And if you love what you're hearing, share the show, give us a rating and review, do anything to help us get the message out there. Thought leadership is easy, but results leadership is hard.
This is the podcastfactory.com.